I'm Kev.
And I'm Steve.
And we're from the internet.
Want an extra episode of We're From The Internet every week? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/bonus to get an exclusive weekly bonus episode 100% free.
Be fluent in another language or know how to play an instrument to professional level?
New girl seems to not ask questions properly. She just sort of starts halfway through. I feel there should have been a "Would you like to be" in front of that.
Part of me thinks being able to speak another language fluently would allow me to sing in a different language,
But
as well as
that's
English.
an instrument then.
Exactly.
Ah.
So I cheated the system. Whereas if I was able to play the drums perfectly, doesn't really benefit me. I've already got a wife.
Hold on. Would you pick the drums if you could play any instrument fluent? Is that fluently? Is that the word?
Drums or
you wouldn't
saxophone?
Pick drums, would you? Why would you pick drums? Any idiot can play the drums. Listen. See, playing the drums. I'm already good at it. Give me my language now.
But
You'd play the guitar or the piano or
I don't
something.
want to be a guitar person.
Well, what about the piano? Wouldn't you like to be able to just sit there, Gary Barlow style? You're at a wedding.
This one's for you, Claire.
Yeah, you're at a wedding and you just sit down at the piano and you start playing. Or when, at the NEC, when we go to shows there's those pianos just dotted around the place for some unknown reason.
You're talking about the piano convention we went to.
Might have been that
Or
one.
the Doom piano at the game thing we went to.
Anyway, but it's always some idiot who's younger than us in skinny jeans and too many tattoos. He just sits down, plonking away on the piano and his mates sing along. Yeah, some wang with a guitar joining in. We could be those people who walk into a pub, there's a piano in the corner, let's crack out a tune. I'd like that. That's more useful than being able to speak Portuguese.
Well, you didn't have to pick Portuguese. Yeah, okay, piano or drums, if they're there. I wouldn't want the guitar.
Why?
I don't know.
You could be in a band then. Most likely instrument to get you into a band is the guitar.
Nah, the drums.
Really?
The bassist is the easiest to replace, apparently.
What? Easier than the drummer?
Guess so.
Surely you just need a drum machine to
If
replace
you're,
the drummer.
if you're excellent at drumming, then you kind of...
I remember when Block Party's drummer left and they just replaced him with a drum machine. They realised, hang on, we don't need a drummer. We'll just... In fact, for a while, when he was still in the band, half the time it was a drum machine because the drums were going too fast. So he'd be there drumming in the bits in between the drum machine.
Just pressing play whenever he couldn't be bothered. I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. I still think the language would be more useful because...
What, the language of music? Are we still talking about drums or guitar?
No, because, I mean, there's only... Actually, as I said, there's only so many times using a drum or a piano would be useful, but then I can't imagine I'd need to go into Portuguese or...
Depends how good you were. If you were, the best foreign language speaker in the world or the best musician in the world, you'd make more money with music.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you get many famous translators. Which is, I mean, what job is there that you can do with being able to speak another language? You basically get into translation or international diplomacy. But if you're really, really good at an instrument...
You could be a spy.
You could be a spy without knowing a language.
Yeah, but if you can blend into, Denmark because you can speak perfect Danish...
Oh, why would you pick Danish? That's another pointless language. That's worse than Portuguese.
My cousins from Denmark can speak Danish, English, German, French,
That's because
and one of them can speak Latin.
That's because other countries teach children properly how to do these things. And they realise it's important. Generally, if you grow up in a country where your language is a bit pointless and no one else speaks it, you have to learn all these other languages. Because imagine if you were in Denmark, didn't speak any other language, no point going on the internet, no point watching TV, no point watching movies, no point listening to music. There's nothing for you.
We watch nothing but Danish TV
all
in
you've
this
got,
country.
All you've got is
Still
bacon
remade.
and beer, and that's it. And what kind of life is that?
Sounds pretty good. So, what instrument would you pick if languages were off the table? You already said you'd go for Portuguese.
Well, see, if I had to go language, I'd probably go something like Japanese.
Yeah.
Because I think Japanese would be handy for playing import games. So I'd quite like that. I'd probably be more into these Japanese RPGs if I could be the kind of annoying person who swans around on the internet going, oh, of course, I played it while I was still in Japanese. I had it as an import 4 years ago on my Atari Jaguar or whatever. 3DO. That was a thing, wasn't it?
I don't know what you're on about.
Video games. You remember them? You do a podcast about them.
I don't.
Interesting. If it was an instrument, though, I think it would be a toss-up between guitar and piano. I'd like to think I'd do the typical rock star moving into middle age where they've been playing the guitar since they were a young man, but as they get into their early 30s, they start to think, you know what, I can't just be playing guitar forevermore. I need to start playing the piano as well. So you become Paul McCartney, and you drift away from the bass guitar more towards the piano because you get to have a sit down while you're doing it.
That's why I went for drums first off, because you can have a sit down, but my upper body strength would increase.
Yeah, exactly. Drummers get so sweaty. When's the last time you saw a sweaty pianist?
No, I think you've kind of convinced me round to the old piano.
So we're going to start a piano band. So you're going to play the piano whilst I sing in Portuguese, and that's going to be our new band.
We're alternating our
What
singing.
about the Spanish guitar?
In fact, I don't think you have to have a specifically Spanish guitar. I think you can have a normal guitar and play it
it's
Spanish.
The technique, isn't it? If you learn to play Spanish guitar, you can't necessarily just get up and knock out.
See, I listen to a band that switches between English and Spanish, and they sometimes play the Spanish guitar.
I imagine they've got there.
Yeah, brilliant talent. And
yeah, well, that's the difference between what obviously we would be. What if you did have the genie in front of you now offering you these, would you have the temptation just to go for something really stupid? Like, I'll have the recorder, or the ukulele, or Klingon, please.
Well, could you get away with saying... Because I remember being a bit smug one day when I was walking along and these more modern foreign language teachers were discussing how many languages they knew, and then they all looked at me and I went, well, there's C, C++, C#, Visual Basic, and I was like, I think I know about 15 languages actually, and they didn't know what I was on about, but I felt like I won that battle hands down. So if I could be fluent in, I don't know, C# or Java.
You're lucky there weren't PE teachers around to kick sand in your eyes when you were having that conversation.
They were too busy trying to figure out why they couldn't get in the push gate while they were pulling it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I already know lots of languages.
You've got to be fluent in Python, though, so that you can just do
fluent
nothing with
in Python. I've done nothing but teach Python for the last 2 years. I'm about as
Even when you were supposed to be teaching Excel, you taught Python.
You know, I really did. I've been doing that today. I'm supposed to be teaching Flash animation. Not a clue. So we're doing a bit more Python. We'll get the Raspberry Pis
animation, it was alright.
Yeah, in fact, with the Raspberry Pis, you can use your Python to create music, thus killing both problems with one nerdy language. You can use your Python to create music.
I'd finally be able to program that time machine, because I don't know what went wrong before, but...
Well, you don't have a time machine.
No, but we tried to program it, didn't we?
Did we?
Well, I did. You were there, sitting in the background, chuckling to yourself.
Yeah, thinking, Sheepdog, this is just a cardboard box that you stuck some LEDs on. This is never going to work. Stop pouring petrol in it. That's only going to exacerbate things.
And it did.
Want to get your question answered on a future episode of We're From The Internet? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/question, tweet your questions at KevinSteve, email kevinsteve@gmail.com, or post them at facebook.com/KevinSteve, or even leave them in the comments for this episode.